What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Slim and Somo halftime Betapalooza here. We've got Saints Cardinals Thursday night. What just happened? That was wild.
Andy Dalton being Andy Dalton in prime time. He has been historically horrible in prime time. 3 interceptions in the first half, 2 of them for pick sixes within 64 seconds of each other to end the half. It was 14-14. It looked like it was going to be a tie with 1:50 left. And then Andy Dalton just threw 2 INTs that were, I don't know. I don't know if it's his fault or the wide receiver's fault.
Two of the 3 INTs were off receivers' hands. The first pick six was a dropped pass that should have been caught. And then the person runs it back in. Simmons, great play on the second pick six there. Wonderful play, catching with one hand, being able to take it back and score. Slim, we were talking about this before we came on. Story of this first half is big plays. I mean, we saw a monster play early to get the Saints up 7-0. We've had multiple 50-yard plays. We've had 2 pick sixes. We've got 42 points at half in a game that was totaled at 43. I think the over is pretty good right now. That's looking okay, right?
Yeah, I think this is going to continue to be scoring in this game. It seems like there's just been big plays on both sides of the ball. As you were saying, 64-yard play to Kevin White for the Saints, and Shaheed had a 53-yard touchdown. So some big passing plays there. On the Cardinal side of the ball, Eno Benjamin had a 45-yard run, and Rondale Moore, 31-yard catch. So there's just been big plays, and obviously the 2 big pick sixes. So big plays in the first half. We might continue to see big plays in the second half.
We're in a unique situation here. 6 weeks in, the Cardinals have not gone to half with a lead yet. So we have absolutely no idea how they'll try to protect this lead. Andy Dalton going to have to throw the ball in the second half. Not a great look for the Saints. Going to be interesting to see what this line comes up at. It was 14-6, and the Cardinals had a 4th and 1 at the 4-yard line. I was expecting to play the Cardinals in the second half. Now it's 28-14 all of a sudden. I'm not sure we can lay it with the Cardinals here. We're going to wait for the second half line to come up, and then we'll give you out the second half play. Let's jump into your props here, Slim. Let's first talk about the Raiders game here. You like a running back for the Raiders here, taking on that Houston defense, which has been like a sieve for running backs.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs. I know 81.5 rushing yards is high, but he should have 100 yards in this game. I mean, he's supposed to have 100 yards in this game. Jacobs has 154 yards and 144 in his last 2 games, and the offense is just running through him. We know the Texans are one of the worst rush defenses in the league. They're giving up 5.1 yards per carry, which is 4th worst in the league, and they're ranked 2nd worst in the league, according to PFF. Jacobs is averaging 5.4 yards per carry, and obviously, he needs to get like 16 carries to clear this 81 number. He has gotten 21 carries, 28, 13, and 19 carries in his last 4 games. He's playing on 74% of the Raiders snaps, which is 4th highest in the league. So he's getting the ball. He's getting to work. If he gets his normal workload of 15 carries in this game, he should be able to clear this number.
Yeah, the Houston defense is awful against the rush. I mean, you saw what, this is the 3rd time in 6 weeks you've used a running back against this Houston defense. I remember specifically the Bears call. Was it Huntley? Hurdley? Who'd you take there? The Bears backup running back, who ended up leading rushing for the week.
Yeah.
That was against this same Houston defense. I would expect you to see some of the same here. Second half line just came out. New Orleans -2, the total 22.5. Let's take the Saints -2. Down 14, they're going to be pressing. The Cardinals are not. They're going to slow it down. The Saints have moved the ball. It's been really self-inflicted wounds here. It's cost the Saints the ability to score more points. Let's take New Orleans -2 for the second half. Hopefully, no more pick sixes. Just get those out of the way. We've got, all we have to do is lose by 10, and we'll cover this -2 for the Saints. So we'll take the more desperate team in the second half here. They should be able to continue to put up points, and the Cardinals are probably going to pack it in and try and slow this game down now, which means that they will not score as much. It's a classic situation where you got the trailing team laying a very short number. It's worth taking that just from a betting perspective. All right. It's already moved to 2.5. So a lot of people agree with us here, Slim, because this is
He can't throw 2 pick sixes in the second half. If he does, that's it. I'm quitting. I might quit anyhow.
They'll be okay. They'll be okay. Line already moved to second half, 2.5 as well. I would still take the 2.5. Anything less than 3, I think, is okay for the Saints here. -109 on the 2.5 sitting right now. Slim.
Got my man Jesse out there. Arizona finally got out of neutral gear. Well, yeah, I mean, their offense was a little bit better. I don't know, but having 2 pick sixes definitely helps your team. So I don't know if they were that really great in the first half. They had a couple good plays, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the second half. I could see New Orleans having a couple big plays also.
You had Nuke over 61.5. He's got 37 in the first half. Good start for you. You need some New Orleans points to keep them throwing the football, though, or else they might slow down on those Nuke yards. But it looks like Hopkins is going to be able to try and make it over that total. You're going to another wide receiver for your second prop play here. This one's interesting to me. Talk me into this. Why are we taking Ayuk for a touchdown?
All right. He had 2 touchdowns last week, so I'm going to keep on rolling with it. Plus 190, I think, is good value. I'm looking for value in games where I think there's going to be some scoring. Now, Kansas City, it seems like every week they're in a higher scoring game. San Francisco is ranked the top defense in the league, so I'm hoping they could hold down Kansas City a little bit, but it could get some scoring here, and I think that Ayuk and Garoppolo have a connection. They have 3 touchdowns combined in the 5 weeks that Garoppolo has been the starting quarterback, obviously 2 last week. But the thing with the Chiefs is they have been susceptible to giving up touchdowns to wide receivers. Last week, Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis both had touchdowns, 2 touchdowns to Devontae Adams and Mike Evans in the 2 weeks before that. Mike Williams, Joshua Palmer, and Marquise Brown have all had touchdowns against this Chiefs team. So if they're giving up a wide receiver touchdown, 1 or 2 a week, Ayuk, he just has that connection with Garoppolo right now in the red zone. So I'm just trying to roll the dice a little bit with some value with plus 190 anytime touchdown.
It's going to be interesting to see who can get in the end zone there. One of the higher totals of the week, so you'd expect you're going to have quite a few touchdowns on both sides. Samuel wasn't that involved in the offense last week. I'd expect him to get a little bit more involved, but if he gets a bunch of coverage from that Kansas City defense, Ayuk is the one who could benefit, especially considering you're seeing a lot of double teams on Kittles as well. So if you're double teaming Samuels and Kittles, kind of leaves Ayuk to be sitting there, and plus 190, definitely not a bad number. If you go over a season, he only needs to score 6 touchdowns for plus 190 to be the correct value there. So don't hate that one at all. All right, I'm going to head to my best bet here for the week. Let's go to Seattle at the LA Chargers. We're catching 6 with the Seattle Seahawks right now. Look, this was plus 7.5 as a look-ahead line at the beginning of the season. I don't understand how you have not seen more of a 1.5 difference in these two teams. Right now, the Chargers, from my personal numbers, I've downgraded 3 points from the start of the season. And I've upgraded Seattle 3 points from the start of the season. That's a 6-point difference. That means this line should be like 2.5, 3, somewhere in that range. And the fact that we just saw the Chargers on Monday night suffer a rash of offensive line injuries, where you had their 3rd-string center, 3rd-string tackle, a 2nd-string guard, all in the game, and Herbert just running for his life the entire time, really, really plays toward this defense from Seattle to be able to bring the pain. And I realize that Allen's coming back for San Diego. They're going to get more healthy on the outside. If you don't have time to throw, it doesn't really matter who's catching the football. On top of that, Geno Smith, who I was talking a lot of shit about going into this season, has played phenomenal. He's a top 5 PFF quarterback right now, a top 5 QBR quarterback right now. Do I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the league? No. But he's top 15 based on the way he's playing. And the tape actually backs up that he is playing well right now. So I don't think 6 is anywhere close to the correct number here. I would lay maybe 3.5 is probably right. Somewhere in there, maybe 3. So anytime you're catching that big of a delta here, I think you got to take the points. You got to take Seattle this week. On top of that, I lived in LA. Let me tell you, there are a ton of Seahawks fans that live in LA. You cannot go a block without running into someone from Seattle. And this is a heck of a lot easier of a ticket to get than the Rams-Seattle game. This stadium is going to be 60% Seattle fans. It's basically going to be a home field for Seattle, or a neutral at worst. I just think this line is probably 3 points off. You have a team coming off of short rest with offensive line injuries against a team that is better on offense. I'll take the points. I'll take Seattle here. Yeah,
I like a couple of bets in this game, and they have not been posted. Obviously, this is 50.5 is the under over line here, the highest of the week. So I like that there's going to be scoring in this game. And I like Geno to his 2 guys there, Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. If you didn't know, the Chargers are giving up the 5th most passing yards in the league right now total. So I think they are susceptible, and Gino will be hitting Metcalf and Lockett a little bit in this one. So I'm looking at those props.
This is a very different team than what we saw when they faced Kansas City on a feature game there. They're missing Bosa now. J.C. Jackson got benched last week after getting a 4-year, $80 million contract. Now he's on the bench. It's brutal for a cornerback. Lost their starting safety as well. This team is they're getting beat up by injuries. This isn't the Chargers that we saw in week 2 against Kansas City. And that's what people are still expecting and thinking. It's not the same team. So anytime you can catch this number of points with a team that I just don't think is similar to what we saw in the past, there's a lot of value on it. So Seattle +6, very interested in that one. We've got a little bit of time before we kick off the second half. I was going between Seattle +6 and New England -8. I love New England on Monday night laying it against the Chicago Bears. I think the Chicago Bears are a worse version of the Cleveland Browns, mainly lean on the running game and a bad quarterback. Well, Chicago's quarterback's worse than Cleveland. Their running game is worse than Cleveland. And you're laying 8. New England just blew the Browns out on the road. Now they're playing at home on a Monday night. You got to think Belichick's going to be ready for that.
Yeah, and they also blew out the Lions. I mean, really, the Lions came in and were scoring a lot of points, and they shut them out. And that was only 2 weeks ago. So I think, if Justin Fields' shoulder is messed up is what they were saying, he has an injury. I mean, he's barely a quarterback as is. So if he has a hurt shoulder and he's going to play through it, it's like they're barely playing with a quarterback. So they're going to try to run the ball. And Montgomery and Khalil Herbert was the guy's name you were looking for. Yeah, they're good, but the Pats are one of the best run defenses in the league right now. And if they don't even have a quarterback and they got to run the ball, it could be a long day for them, and they might not just be able to move the ball at all. And we got Jesse asking, is it going to be Zappy or Jones in that game? I think still Zappy, but I think Jones did pass his cleared his medical, whatever he needed.
This is a great question. I think we have officially a quarterback controversy in New England because Jones today at his press conference said he is healthy and 100% and ready to go. And Belichick has not named him the starter. So I think it's going to be Zappy because Zappy is not complaining about the offensive game plan that he's been handed. And Jones, prior to getting hurt, was complaining that he was not able to open it up. He wanted to throw the ball downfield more. He didn't want to be considered a quote-unquote game manager. I think Zappy's the one that they're going to go with, and I think they're going to ride it until the hot hand is gone. And to be honest with you, Zappy from a clean pocket is the 7th best rated quarterback in the NFL the 2 weeks he played. The Bears are last in the NFL in pass rusher rate. Not a great situation for the Bears, and that's that either. So, Zappy is one of those guys where not a lot of people have heard of him, but he came from Western Kentucky and set the NCAA record for touchdowns thrown in a year. He knows how to sling the ball. So I don't mind Zappy from that perspective.
So it doesn't matter to you with that laying those points if it's Zappy, or if it's Jones. Are you less likely to bet it? Then is the question possibly.
I would rather have Zappy. But the difference between them in my mind is maybe a point and a half. And I line this game with Zappy at 11. So if I'm laying 8 and the line's 11, I'll do that all day. Additionally, this is one thing I don't think people talk about enough. The game is 8 right now. You can bet it at -8. This is going to be the heaviest teased game of the week because you can get it down to -2 if you're playing a 6-point teaser. There's a handful of other games. The Saints tonight was one of the popular ones. They were +2.5, get them up to +8.5. So it's still in a long teaser zone. You can play the Dolphins on Sunday night, -7 down to -1. With the New England, no matter what way you look at it, New England's going to be the closing leg for a lot of these teasers, which means the sports books are going to have massive liability going into Monday night on New England. The best way to augment that liability is to juice the lineup and take Bears money back. So if you move the line from 8 to 10, you start getting Bears money in, and then you have a window where you can break even from all these teasers. I wouldn't be shocked if you can get double digits on the Bears on Monday night. If you like New England, you got to play them tonight or at least before Sunday, because I bet they're 9 by Sunday and they're 10 by Monday night when this game kicks off.
This guy, man, he knows it. This guy's a professional gambler right here. The things he talks about, these predictions. We'll look at the lines. I'm going to be following that now. So interesting. We'll take a look at how that line moves, but we'll be following it. Follow me at Saratoga Slim. we're going to be going back to the second half of this game. Next week, Breeders' Cup coverage is going to be really in high gear, as Wednesday is the pre-entry. So we're going to be getting all that information together for the guide. I will be writing an article for the guide on my top value picks. So I know, Samo, you probably got something in the guide too, right?
Yeah, I'll be writing a BC article. So my Breeders' Cup betting challenge strategies. I've got 2 entries this year, $10,000 each. I'm going to be writing out how I expect I should play that and what you need to do to win it, as well as how you want to, like, if you're attacking the Breeders' Cup from a bankroll perspective, you're saying, hey, I got $1,000, I got $100, whatever it is to bet on this. What's the best way to make the most money possible? That's exactly what you have to do in BC. So that's what I'm going to write up about the strategy around that and what races you want to attack to try and maximize the value.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to read that. But yeah, mine is going to be basically like my top 5 to 10 tickets. We'll see how deep I get, but just some real, just strong plays. And when you play the BC, you got that strong exacta that you pound, that strong double you pound. That's some of the stuff that I'll be looking to do in that article. So definitely got us both writing, getting ready for the BC. I can't wait. 2 weeks from Friday is the juvenile day, so it was going to be a fun time.
I can't believe it's already here. It's phenomenal that we're already at this point of the year. It's going to be a wonderful Breeders' Cup this year. We're going to get to see a lot of different stars. I can't wait to see Flightline in person. I've never been privileged enough to see him run. Looking forward to seeing that on Saturday. The 2 days are always phenomenal, but this year I think we have the possibility of seeing some real superstars between Cave Rock. Obviously, we get to see Golden Pal again, Flightline going there. We've got Warlike Goddess taking on the boys in the turf. A lot of different storylines that I think are going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining us here. Slim and Samo's halftime Betapalooza. Real quick, let's fire through these bets. We took the Saints -2 for the second half. My play of the week, I'm going with Seattle +6 at the LA Chargers. Slim taking Jacobs over 81.5 rushing yards. He's also taking Brandon Ayuk anytime touchdown for +190 there. Thank you very much for joining us for the halftime Betapalooza. We're not going to be back for the next 2 weeks. We're going to do all Breeders' Cup coverage, but we'll see you the week after that. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Good luck with any of your second half bets.